The sharp decline in stocks today as a critical week gets underway. Yes, we have NVIDIA earnings looming, a lot more as well to discuss and debate with the investment committee. Joining me for the hour today, Jim Leventhal, Joe Terranova, Bryn Talkington, and Jason Snipe. Let's show you what the markets are doing. We're down more than 700 on the Dow, at least 1% declines across the board. We know the two most important stories of the week, the continued fallout from the SCOTUS ruling on the tariffs, the NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. The president continues to attack the ruling. He continues to attack the court itself. He continues to threaten even higher tariffs. And there still remains a lot of uncertainty over that. However, if you look at financials, if you look at some of the private equity names, if you look at discretionary, which is down a bunch today, anything that saw any level of relief last week is back down today, Jimmy.
Yeah, and you started with the tariffs, Scott, and as we talked about on Friday, this is going to increase uncertainty in the short run, but in the long run, it should actually reduce uncertainty. There does appear to be a cap with these new tariffs of 15%, above which the president can't go. So, yeah, there's a lot of questions over the weekend. Are various countries going to adhere to their deals? That uncertainty will linger. But I think what we're seeing today, Scott, is some of the other issues that were pretty big last week. Continuing concerns about private credit. I think that's what's hanging on to the financials in particular. Let's not forget the State of the Union address tomorrow, and there's a lot that's going to come up in that, not just lambasting the Supreme Court, but the president's going to lay out what his plan is, should lay out what his plan is with Iran, and I think that's hovering over the market as well. So, you know, just those two things alone, concerns about private credit and potentially attacking Iran, those would take top billing if it weren't for the uncertainty increase in the tariffs. Put it all together, there's a lot of uncertainty, Scott.
Yeah, we'll get to some private credit-related things as the show develops today, but all those names are down, and down a lot.
Yeah.
The private equity related names, we're talking 7-8% declines. The major banks like Citi's down 5%, Goldman, JPM are down. Bryn, so it leads me to you on this notion that things that got relief on Friday, and I use it in quotes because it was obviously short-lived for many of these stocks, didn't react the way that you thought they might on this tariff ruling. I think of Nike and I think of On Holding, which you sold both. You sold them, which is interesting to me in that you bought them because you assumed that SCOTUS would rule the way it did, but the stocks didn't react the way you anticipated they might. So now you're out. Tell me more.
Welcome to investing, right? And so, I mean, both great companies, right? Obviously, Nike's in a turnaround. On is just crushing it. And so I just felt that on both of these earnings calls, Scott, they consistently talk about tariff headwinds. And so I thought when the SCOTUS ruling would come out, that would kind of settle that. But obviously, the Supreme Court didn't even talk about the refunds. You know, we were all witnessing live, you know, President Trump's reaction. And so I felt like the thesis around my trade did not play out. And so I just, you know, sold it and moved on. And so I think it's important that when you have a thesis that doesn't work out, I like to move on and just like, let's play another day and another type of investment. But to me, it just like has a downward pressure on these two names because I think tariffs are going nowhere fast, clearly with what Trump came out with afterwards.
Yeah. So, Jason Snipe, what about you? You know, a lot of assumptions that I think were being made on Friday maybe evaporated over the weekend. And if you pay attention to what the president's posting on social media this morning, whether you believe it's going to happen in the degree that he suggests it might or not, it does lead to an uncertain stock market that looks pretty red.
There's no doubt about it, Scott. And I think, you know, my initial response obviously was 10%. Announcement on what those tariffs would be, and then later on 15% over the weekend, and then also communication about additional levies going forward. So I think there is concern about what the story is going to be. Obviously, you know, we experienced something very different in Liberation Day last year. It's nothing like that, but just uncertainty about will there be tariff refunds? What is that story going to look like? How does that affect margins, and how does that affect business going forward? And then just obviously there's the slide that we're seeing in financials. Yes, the private credit story, but also some of the exposure to software. We continue to see that slide. So I think there's a lot in the pool right now that's kind of disrupting markets today, and I think that's what we're seeing.